Right, here's the second video in my quick basing tutorial series of 2 I think, where I'm going to show you how to use the basing compound that we just made to base a figure. Now this is a standard 28mm figure. It's on an integral base stuck onto my usual bases of 30mm MDF circles, and I've also blue tacked him onto a paint pot for this because I found, this is my 6th attempt to make this video, that my hands get in the way and you can't see what's going on. Normally I wouldn't do this, this is just for filming. Normally, here's another one, normally just pick him up like that, whatever, you know. But so for the purposes of this we're going to have him perched on a paint pot. I use a small palette knife to apply the basing compound. I found over the years this is the best tool for the job. They're not very expensive. I've had this one over 25 years and there it is. The other thing you might need to use is a bit of wire. Again, I've had this about 20 years because it doesn't wear out. You don't need a palette knife. I suppose you can use a coffee stirrer, a bit of card, but you don't want to use a brush. Brushes don't like this. Okay, here we go. So you get a small bit on your knife and you just put it on the base near his feet, squidge it about. I tend to put it near the miniature and then you press down on the top of the compound and it'll squidge out from underneath the knife and then sort of like meet the figure that way, rather than trying to scrape it right up to the miniature. I mean, you'll find your own. You've probably got much better hand control than I have anyway. There we go, just go around here and then final bit there, around the front, there it is. Okay, now there's a bit in between his legs which the knife can sometimes have trouble getting to, so you use your little bit of wire and you just move it around with the end of the wire. That'll do it. There we go. He's all finished. That's the basic part. Then, to add some coarseness and more texture to the base, I just sprinkle on some what is railway modelling scatter. That'll stay there and just add a little bit more texture for the painting. The basing compound is a strong glue, so this won't need any more doing to it. It'll be stuck solid by the time it dries, and there he is, he's done. I'm going to get on and do the rest of this set of 12, and I'll come back when it's dry and we'll do the painting process and the static grass application. And we're back. So everything's dry. I've also painted around the edge of the base with the same paint colour that we use in the basing compound. This is just because the edge of the MDF soaks in paint quite a lot, and I like using the paint I've got the most of just to seal it. So now I'm going to add on the 2 highlight colours. So my first one is again, it's in a manky old pot and there's lots of it, and it's just the same Dulux paint as I used for the basing compound, and it's colour matched to a foundry sand colour, and it's just the paint I ended up using. So I do it around the edge and then drag it across the surface. As you can see, little stones aren't moving, they're well and truly stuck. There's a nice bit of texture once the liquid has evaporated out of the basing compound as it dries. There's it leaves a good bit of texture behind, more than you'd think by looking at it when it's wet. So here we go. So again, I like having the base is the same colour as the sides of the base is the same colour as my mid-tone, which is this thing. Some people like them black, some people like them whatever, choice is yours. This is just how I do it. So a good coating around the edge, and then I'm using the edge painting to basically take most of the paint off the brush so that when we drag it over the top, that's that. That's done there. Okay, let's wash this off. It's pretty good, I think. Give that a clean. So now, the last bit for the paint is to go to an even lighter shade again. This is matched to a Foundry sand colour. This could do with a bit of thinning, but it won't matter. Now this you do dry brush, so this gets wiped off on a tissue, and then this I just go over the added grit, the bits of grit I put on just to pick it out. Just like that, that's the bit. There he is. That's his painting bit done. Next is the static grass. So I'm going to pause here again while I go and do the other 11 in the set, and we'll come back shortly when they're done for the final stage. Right then, all done and ready for the last stage, which is the static grass. I don't use grass clumps or anything, I just use a random assortment of static grass. Again, I bought this off eBay. I think this is a spring colour, I don't know, I change it regularly, it's just green. I use undiluted PVA. I find a suitable spot, plonk it on, little areas. If I can, I like to get a continuous line of grass that crosses where the figure's standing. That way it looks like they're standing on a sort of natural piece of ground rather than a little bit of ground where someone's artfully placed a few clumps of grass. This will do it. Where you put the grass doesn't really matter. Sometimes there can be a gap in the basing compound and that can do with a bit of grass. Sometimes the dry brushing can go on a bit heavy and that can do with a bit of grass. Anyway, there it is. Then with some tweezers, get some grass, plonk it on. Again, I prefer this to like dunking the figure in a pot of grass because well, I don't know why, I just developed this way of doing it because I did. I've never liked dunking things in a little bit thing. Okay, so he's done. Knock it off. Now, normally, actually I'm going to do it, I'm afraid, get my fingers in the way, get him off his carrot. Normally, turn him upside down and give him a tap on the base, and this makes the grass stand up a bit and makes it look rather than the matted. So, excuse me, just a light blur until the glue's dried, but there he is, he's all done. The final bit, can we get him back on there? There we go, there we are. And that's it, the full process. Quicker than it looks, quicker than it's taken here in fact, because I do them as a batch, but that's how I do my bases. Hope this has been helpful. Once again, thanks for watching. See you next time.